for an artist who was amazing at interpreting emotion, probably one of the most searing and reaching and deep pieces of music. And I looked at the title of the song that was on the screen, and it was Sending My Love to Linda, and I just thought, who is Linda? Who is this person? And going back and starting to do the research and finding these bits of information that in some places were arcane and other places very well researched, I said, for me, this part of the story had emotion, had a depth, had a personal velocity, and more importantly for me, for a story to be relevant, it's got to be informative. And again, for someone who considered himself a fan, there were just so many things that I learned. I wanted an audience to feel that sense of surprise and curiosity and revelation that I felt in that moment.
Imogen, the character you play is one of those many, many women throughout the history of music who have had to play a kind of a supportive, enabling role, but who actually have very smart, astute judgment when it comes to music. We're also going back 40 years, and when maybe gender relations were a little bit different. Can you talk a little bit about playing this character and how you approached her as someone from today?
Yeah. Well, I think the first point is playing somebody in the 60s. There's a lot you're aware of artistically and politically and all those things going on. And in terms of their duo, I always felt in playing Linda, they were very much like a partnership, kind of partners in crime, and she let him get away with things that other people would have sort of been suspicious about. She encouraged him to kind of embrace his wild side in our story. And also I think for, you know, after doing research and watching documentaries, etc., there's a real idea that maybe Jimi Hendrix played up this persona of being naive, but he actually wasn't that naive. And I think I got the feeling from researching it from John's screenplay that Linda was very savvy about that, and she kind of knew where his mind was. And that's a real secret, to kind of be that close to somebody's mind that's so kind of absent, really, to everybody else, or inaccessible. But no, it was a joy to play her and really understand what it's like to be the person who goes home and listen to those records that were made for that person, and that time disappears, life goes on, and sort of it's a sad thing, but at the same time nostalgia is kind of very pleasant sensation, is how you look at it.
I have to ask about the music. There is, of course, an incredible wealth of Jimi Hendrix music that is the more popular stuff, the things that are played on rock radio every day all across the world right now. That's not what's in the film. You've made other choices. Can you both talk a little bit about the music choices in the film?
Obviously, Hendrix's genius was his interpretation of blues, as well as of Lennon, McCartney, Dylan. Many of the songs that he made literally his own, whether it be Hey Joe, Wild Thing, Like a Rolling Stone, All Across the Watchtower, were songs that, you know, he gravitated towards and literally reinvented. And his arrangement skills and his talent were such that with John, when I read John's script, I was genuinely inspired. I had finished a movie called Almost Famous, in which frankly, had been inundated and sent a lot of musical, heavy and laden scripts and biopics, if you will. And but what I gravitated towards was John's Linda. To me, as you expressed, Linda was the ultimate rock muse. If our Penny Lane inspired or represented that amazing rock girl, Linda Linda spoke to me, and I fell in love with John's Linda. And in solving the riddle musically, that era of 66, 67 was so potent and so fertile, especially within London, of the blues signature, and what Hendrix did to it was genuinely had such an impact on me as a kid, and the ability to have John's canvas and to really be able to just sink into it was just absolutely one of the great experiences I've ever had.
Thank you. We have some time for your questions. I'm curious to know what you thought, and you may have lots of questions for John.